Hello, good evening. So, tonight I'm going to do something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is to make a video about my favorite books. Well, I didn't really like reading long stories at first. When I was a child or when I was younger, because I believe I wasn't really that smart. So when the story goes longer than usual, I'd usually lose interest. But anyway, something happened to me when I was in high school, about fourth year. I remember I was feeling miserable I don't remember the reason anymore, but I was feeling miserable, and I decided to go to the library, and I didn't really know why. I just wanted to go there and kill some time. And then when I entered the library, I saw in a corner a friend who was laughing while reading The Goosebumps. And I said, what the heck? Why is she happy alone? Why is she having fun all by herself? So that was the triggering point. Like, I wanna be happy like that too. So that's when I started picking up a book, and I should tell you, it wasn't easy at first. It really wasn't easy. But I kept on going, and eventually developed this habit for reading, because I realized when you have a book in your hand, you can never be alone, and you get to visit different places, and it's just wonderful. You learn a lot. You feel like you do have friends. So I'm going to share to you some of the books that really made an impact to me. So I'd like to start first with this book. This is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. I read this when I was in first year college, and it was actually the first time I fell in love with a character in a story. It was such a beautiful story, and not simple at all, and beautifully told. And the next book that actually caught me was this one. This is The 100 Secret Senses by Amitan. Well, it's a long story about a love that is not usual. A love that develops over time, a love that endures. And the 100 Secret Senses here seems to be pointing to the different senses that you develop when you actually love a person. Like, you don't just perceive them with your 5 senses, that's the usual, right? But you develop so much more than those, and some can't even be put into words. So this is just a wonderful book by Amitan. And then the next would be this one. Ta-da! The Wonderful Celestine Prophecy. The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. This one. Well, this one, it brought me to a whole new level of experience of life. It opened a door for me to experience people in a deeper, unusual thing, or metaphorical, or shall I say, more than what meets the eye. And it also introduces me to the meaning of the words, such as aura, intuition, a deeper connection that I really don't have any idea about before I read this. This is such a beautiful book. And one of the things I really cannot forget about this is, the connectedness that we all have to each other, to where we live, the people around. It cannot be disregarded. And also, the word synchronicity. I first encountered and lived and realized it here in this book. So we go on to the next. Before all of these, before all the other ones, of course, I was able to develop a love for this wonderful author. Ta-da! Paulo Coelho. The Alchemist is the first one I read. I borrowed at the municipal library. I must confess, I found this story rather simple. I liked it, but it was a tad too simple for my really playful imagination. But the next one that followed, this one, ooh, it hit me perfectly, and then some more. So this one is 11 minutes by I couldn't say he's my favorite author, but he clearly is one author that I subscribe to. I mean, almost all his books I collected. The latest one I still don't have. I forgot what that is. But almost all the books I have, because he speaks so clearly to me. And when I read his books, it was like myself talking to me, myself getting reacquainted with myself through the voice of a man telling stories. Wonderful. And my favorite book of his, well, I have lots of favorite, and that's a cheater. That makes me a cheater, but this is one of the best books I really liked. Because it just speaks of the truth. Two things. You can either want to be a winner, that will be alright. But to be a winner always, that will be another thing. So the always winner stands alone, but it doesn't say that you shouldn't be a winner. I think you should experience winning, but to decide whether you want to be on top, perhaps that's another story. Now, because of this author, I get to know my favorite author. This one is Khalil Gibran, and this one is, I would confess, this has been my Bible ever since I read it. It's the Prophet. Whenever I feel low and down, I would go to this book. I would just scan the topics where it hit me hard, and then I would read. I'm just so grateful that there's something like this in my life where I can, go to. So if ever I would bring a book, only 2 books I would be bringing. I think I would be this one, and I can't decide. This is definitely one of them. Anyway, let's go to the next. This particular book I really liked. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Just because I like how bold it is, how open and creative the characters are, and it was audacious for me, this book. And when I read it, the feeling was, right, somebody should be talking about those kinds of things. This is that book. And what would be next? Yeah, this one. I fell in love with this book, but I fell in love first with the movie. It was a fantastic, beautiful movie that is at par with this book. I don't know which is more beautiful, the movie or this one, because the story is also really rich and beautiful, but the movie, and especially Zhang Ziyi, is fantastic. And yeah, talking about Filipino authors, I have my favorites too. Of course, the legendary Eros Italia in his Wag Lang Di Makaraos. This is a compilation of his Dagli stories. What's a Dagli in English? These are really rather short stories, but seemingly complete. The plot is complete, and these are really wonderful stories, and I hope someday I will be able to be strong enough and knowledgeable enough to be able to write the Glee stories. And of course, Bob Ong, and this is my favorite book of his, macarthur, where there are really cuss words here a lot. And because I really liked and loved this book, and I felt like is really an important piece of literature coming from a Filipino author. I read this in class, like everything I read, and I didn't regret even a moment, because my students were not making any noise. They were in awe at what I was reading. This is wonderful, macarthur by Bob Ong. And of course, the phenomenal Para Haibi by Ricky Lee. The story of 5 women and a man. So creative, and although this is a work of fiction, but the characters are, you will feel them, you will relate with them if you are a Filipina. I don't know if you're a foreigner, but if you're a Filipina, this is really a book you will relate to. I'm at a loss of words, because all I can remember are the feelings. 5 different feelings, like, showered to me upon reading this. 5 different lives, 5 different experiences of being a woman in the Philippines. Wonderful. Then I have this one. Ta-da. Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. I must say, when I go back to when I read this, I cannot remember most, but one thing. It made me look at my parents in such a different way, a special way of, you should try to really understand them, and that what I'm experiencing in this life is a huge part of that is because of them. And to understand what's going on in my life, I should start there. So Eckhart Tolle is really great. And there's another book of his that's really famous too, and I have it there. I'm just forgetting the title, but this one is the one that captured my heart more. So this is it. Well, this one is really magical. Journey to Ainslin by Carlos Castaneda. It was just so magical, this book. At some point, I thought I'm gonna drown. But the hand that's leading you to the story is not letting go until you finish and wanting for more. But I was really overwhelmed by this, so I needed some time to really settle to myself, to go back to another Castaneda, because now I know that it's not an easy read. It will require all of me once more. So I'm just preparing myself for another reading of his. It talks about magic, like doable. Isn't that scary? A doable magic. Anyway, I would like to present to you one of my best ones, and The Gift, a book of poems by Hafiz. It's just so wonderful. This one, I quote this a lot. I do make calligraphy a lot with the words in here, and as well as Rumi. I mean, when I was able to acquire these books, I felt like I'd be okay in life. Like, alright, things are gonna be better from now on, because they have that effect of cradling your heart, that good things are here and good things are happening. So beautiful words they offer to this world, and I'm just so grateful I have them in my shelves. Now I would like to share to you The Game Changer. The Game Changer. The universe answering my prayers with this one. Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung and his colleagues, I guess. Yeah, this one. I was at the point in my life where everything is so much, and I prayed that if the universe wouldn't send a help to me of some sort, I prayed to be taken away from where I am, from the life that is given to me, because I cannot go on being a burden to anyone or destroying people's lives by being who I am. And then I read this, and surprisingly, you know, I told earlier I'm not really intellectual when it comes to reading. I am having a hard time whenever I encounter readings that are deep, you know. But when I read this one, it was just like somebody's talking here, and I was just listening with awe of, oh my gosh, I have those. One particular line here was when he mentioned that something about the left hand, the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, something about that. And so I said, what the heck? I have those tendencies. So it was the kind of information I needed in my life, this one. And it led me to so many avenues in my life that I have right now. It led me to an in-depth soul exploration that I have no idea possible. That is possible. I heard that Jung decided to write this for people like me who are not really into, psychoanalysis. And Jung, wherever you are, whatever realm you're on, I would like to thank you for putting this out, for thinking ahead of yourself, because you've given me that one thing I really needed to go on with getting to know myself and getting to know what I can do to really move on with this journey, and that would be go in. So this is it. Now before I will reveal the others, I have runner-ups. So I was talking about the runner-ups before I go into the two absolutely fantastic books that followed The Game Changer. My runner-ups were this Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. Really loved that book. Fantastic. Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. Me and my friend really loved that book. That somehow told the story of the beginning of life and how we came about this kind of society we have right now. We don't have any means to prove anything really, but that story offers a really sensible explanation of why we are what we are, why we live in a patriarchal society and not in a matriarchal society, and where we are seemingly going to. That was Ishmael by Daniel Quinn. That's a really fantastic book, and I was looking for the sequel. I hope anybody that would watch this video would, PM me where I can get the sequel of that. Alright, so I also really liked the Secret Life of Frankie Presto. If I got that correctly. Hold on. Ah yeah, The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto by Mitch Albom. So that is my favorite Mitch Albom book. That was a story about a musician, a born musician that was, since he was a baby, he's like really written in stones, is being a musician, that no matter what happens in his life, he would always be led to who he is. It's a wonderful story. And for another runner-up, actually it's not a runner-up, but it's just another category, I've been really liking books on poems, and one of my favorites are Robert Bly, Mary Oliver, Wisława Szymborska, and Kabir. So let's go to this one. The ultimate girl empowerment book, Woman Who Run with the Wolves, by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. It's really a sequel to The Game Changer. When you read this and then you follow this up, I mean, your life is going to be not going back. anywhere back to where you were before. Absolutely not. And to be followed by this absolutely fantastic fiery book by Marion Woodman and Eleanor Dixon, Dancing in the Flames. You know, I bought this everywhere. These two, everywhere I went, it was with me, no matter how bulky, no matter how small my bag was. I read this for 6 months because I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to, like, you know, study every story and internalize it. And I think it was one of the best things I've ever did in my life. I tried to do the exercises whenever I could. And yeah. I don't know if I already have the power that I should have. But all I know is that whenever I breathe, it has their breath. These wonderful women who probably have been through what I'm going through in life, one way or another, yet they were able to come together to themselves and produce these things that I'm hoping I'll be able to do. So I will be able to do too in my life, because I know now, not with certainty, but with pure love and conviction in my heart, and dignity and integrity, that I'm here because I needed to be here and life wanted me to be here. And all these voices, all the people that wrote these books, wrote them for me, saying, Sarah, hey, we were here before you, and you will get there. You are here. You are there. And also, I still have much in there, and I dream of having my own library with couch and all of these things are the only treasures I have, material treasures that I would pass on to my kids. These voices, these little containers of beautiful voices, beautiful voices of love that tells us that, hey, take a deep breath, read the line, take that step, take a rest, learn, go inside, do what your heart tells you and speaks of. You are here and you are there. So I'm glad about this video, and I hope somehow you got something from this. And thank you so much for watching. Until next video, I'm glad you're here.